Domaine Paul Mas are located in the south of France, in the Languedoc-Roussillon region. The story begins at Château de Connas, near the splendid town of Pézenas, a place crammed with history and culture. The estate was later expanded with the acquisition of Domaine Nicole in Montagnac, Domaine Astruc in Limoux, Mas d'Étannes and Château Arrogant Frog. Jean-Claude Mas is the owner and winemaker of Domaine Paul Mas. This region is bordered by the Mediterranean to the south and by mountains to the north, where the Hérault River Canyon starts, formed by dramatic shifts in the Massif Central range during the Quaternary period. The landscape near the coast is flat because the chalky rock dissolved into the sea, and with it the high ground during the same period. These geological shifts have created a variety of different terrain, from slightly rolling countryside to more or less distinct peaks. We're in a region with a Mediterranean climate, hot and dry summers followed by mild and wet winters. We have a variety of winds: the tramontane, cold, dry wind coming from the northwest, the marin from the south, warm and humid, and the mistral from the north. Domaine Nicole, the boutique winery of Paul Mas Estates, is 6 kilometers from the Étang de Thau, famous lagoon for oysters, and the Mediterranean. Surrounded by pine forests and hills reaching up to 100 to 140 meters in altitude, blessed by the sun and the marine breeze, it overlooks the Hérault Valley. Domaine Nicole is near the village of Montagnac. It's now home to Domaine Paul Mas's offices and shelters a 65,000 case capacity winery and a barrel cellar of 400 French and American oak barrels. Here we make our Appellation Coteaux du Languedoc wines: Château Paul Mas, Les Faïs, Vinus, Mas des Mas, as well as Vin de Pays wines, Vigne de Nicole, Paul Mas, and Mas d'Étannes organic wine. Domaine Nicole Vineyards covers 40 hectares and is mainly made up of limestone and clay limestone soils, planted with 12 different grape varieties, including Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Mourvèdre, Carignan, Viognier, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc. Across the street from Domaine Nicole is Mas d'Étannes. Acquired in 2006, it covers another 40 hectares, half of which is now certified as organically farmed. Flying over the Hérault River and well-known town of Pézenas, the city of Molière, brings us to the little village of Connas, where the Château de Connas is situated, and the original family estate, the Domaine de l'Île de Connas. Château de Connas has a long history, going back more than 1,000 years. The Romans would have been the first to plant vineyards on the hillside, while they were growing wheat in the more fertile lowland plots. On the banks of the Hérault, a mill built in the 16th century with 4 grinding wheels, which demonstrates how important the village of Connas was until the 17th century. After the French Revolution, Domaine de Connas was split in 1792 and sold at auction. Only the chateau and the mill remained, together with 27 hectares, which became Raymond Mas's, Jean-Claude's grandfather's, property from 1954. Raymond brought more vineyards and transmitted to his sons, Paul and Maxime, an estate of 70 hectares of vineyard, which was then split between the 2 sons in 1990. Les Domaines Paul Mas were then created at Château de Connas in 2000 by Jean-Claude Mas, on the foundations of Paul, Jean-Claude's father's 35 hectares family vineyards. At the start, the chateau housed the offices and laboratory, before moving to Domaine Nicole in 2006. Today, the Connas vineyards cover an area of 20 hectares, planted with Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay and Viognier, and farmed in a modern way in order to produce the best possible grapes on these fertile alluvial soils. Let's now leave Domaine Nicole and Château de Connas' Mediterranean climate and head for Domaine Astruc in the Pyrenees foothills. The Pyrenees Mountains are more than a border between Spain and France. Thanks to their sheer latitude and position, the Pyrenees divide two large climatic zones with different vegetation. Ocean influence to the west and north, continental and Mediterranean to the south and east. Limoux city lies in the Pyrenees foothills in the Aude county. The River Aude runs through the city and 20 kilometers further through the famous medieval town of Carcassonne, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Domaine Astruc is located at 300 meters in altitude, and although close to the Mediterranean, the region's climate is mid-Atlantic, mid-Mediterranean. This gives a perfect cooler climate for white varietals and red varietals such as Pinot Noir or Malbec. Domaine Astruc is the largest winery within Paul Mas Estates, where we produce our Arrogant Frog, La Forge Estate, Domaine Astruc, Claude-Val and Valmont wines. Each of these wines is coming from specifically designated vineyards across the Languedoc. Besides the winery itself, Domaine Astruc owns vineyards consisting of 70 hectares, most of them being within the Limoux appellation contrôlée. We practice the sensorial analysis of the berries in all our vineyards in order to determine the optimum picking date of the grapes. At Domaine Astruc Winery, we make 500,000 cases of wines from our grapes, and those of the contracted growers who run a total of 550 hectares, 1,400 acres. We work with 80 contracted growers, and our relationship with them is based on trust and the pursuit of excellence, because we're only looking for top quality grapes. We give them full technical advice throughout the year, from pruning to picking. Our success depends on theirs. This is how, year after year, quality keeps improving and our partnership gets stronger. We work for a sustainable viticulture in our own vineyards and in our contracted vineyards. In the short term, we are committed to eradicate chemicals, which are now being replaced with organic certified products. The future of our wines will depend on how well we protect our environment and our workers. Finding the appropriate soil and climate for each of the 25 varietals we produce is also one of our main concerns. More white grape varieties in Limoux and more reds in Pézenas or Montagnac. The balance between a grape variety and its environment is one of the keys to great wines. We age our wines in barrel and in vats, aiming at creating the best complexity while preserving the fruit character. All our wines are made with one goal: to create a moment of pure pleasure while enjoying a glass of our wine.